just recently, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think we have a number of mutual friends.
Thank you.
And there's a story to be told that will be very interesting to the audience, I'm sure. And welcome very, very much to Conversations. A pleasure to welcome to the program Gizella Weisshaus. And Gizella is a survivor of Auschwitz. And an incredible story in and of itself. And then she's had an incredible story in the years between then and now, which is very interesting also. She has a very interesting story to tell. And Gizella, welcome very, very much to Manhattan Network.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. We just met. I'm very glad that we have, and I think we're going to become good friends.
Yes.
But could you share, please, your background, because you're Romanian, as I understand, and you could share your background, which had a very unhappy sort of chapter there in your early years. But could you share your background, please?
Yes. I was born in a city that's called Sighet in Romania. That's near the Carpathian Mountains. And my mother's family lived there for 7 generations, being rabbis in the same city. My father's family came from Satmar, that everybody knows where it is. I only have 5 generations of Satmar from my...
But you are Satmar then? And that's Hasid, right?
Yeah, I mean, my husband, he was a student of the previous rabbi, of Rabbi Joel Teitelbaum.
Teitelbaum, yes, indeed.
Yes.
He would have known then, I think he would have known Harriet Karchner.
Yeah.
She was associated with Rabbi Teitelbaum, I believe.
Yeah. For 6 years, my husband learned before the war there. It's very interesting. I was 14 and a half years old to the concentration camp.
You were at 14 and a half when you were carried off to a concentration camp. Your family in Romania, your father was a rabbi.
He wasn't a rabbi, really, but my great-grandfathers were rabbis in the city.
But he was there, and then it's not unimportant because there was in 1944, I think, before the internment, there was you deposited, or the family, or someone in the family deposited money in a Swiss bank.
My father
so there must have been some... a successful business and so forth that was going on. Maybe it's worth keeping that in mind before the Nazi descent upon your household.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little bit the story. My father came from Satmar. My grandfather, his father, was very closely associated. He was a supervisor for the students in the yeshiva by the previous rabbi. And my father married my mother. She had a nice dowry that time.
A nice what?
Dowry.
Dowry.
Dowry,
yes.
So my grandmother, he gave him the money, and he deposited the money in a bank.
In Switzerland?
No, in Sighet.
In Romania, yeah.
And he told them they shouldn't take it out only when they're going to need it very badly. So my grandmother had it's called a small restaurant. It was called a bodega there in the city. So, and there all the people came who were dealing with foreign currencies, and all the businesses were done. It was near the main street. I remember that place. So my father heard that this bank is going to get bankrupt.
Okay.
So he was asking to take out the money. My grandmother won't let it. She's not going to give for a young man money that he doesn't know how to handle. So my father did something unbelievable. He paid off a policeman, and he went to fetch my mother. And she came to the bank, and he told her, sign over, we're taking out the money and don't tell nobody. So, and that's what he did. They took out the money, they didn't tell nobody.
Was he concerned about the rising Nazi...
No, that was much before the Nazis.
Much before. It wasn't in 1944?
No, not yet.
Okay.
That was in the 30s.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So they took out the money. A short while later, I don't know how long, the bank busted and she went bankrupt.
Oh, boy.
So my father went to my grandmother. He was asking for the dowry because she started to scream at him, "What you want? I didn't do anything wrong. It was in the bank." Then he told her that he took out the money. She was even more mad that he was smarter than her.
Oh, I see.
So, and with that money, he started to deal with foreign currencies and all kinds of things, and became very successful.
Okay.
His family in Satmar were poor people mostly.
Okay.
And when I remember him, he traveled around. He always, and he went many times to Switzerland. And he, when my case came out in the public, a man approached me from Florida. And he said,
"That's much more recent now."
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take it there, and then we'll go back. Yeah.
And he told me he dealt with my father, and he knew my father. He just saw my family picture on the television, and he realized that he knows him. And he told me how the dealing went on that my father had give a power of attorney in Zurich to a family. And he had, many times he got a signature for my father. Then he went to Switzerland, and he went to this family, and he stayed there for a half hour, and they gave him the money, how much he wanted. He used to get from $2,000 to $3,000, and he was dealing. What he did, he bought either watches in Switzerland or crystals in Czechoslovakia or other countries. He took it back to Romania, and he sold it there.
For a profit.
For a profit. And my father got a cut on the profit. That was the business, and he did it many times.
So he got considerable money was built up.
Sure, I'm telling you. Probably he had other people. Meanwhile, there was in each city mostly was they called it like a bank, where people deposited money that they wanted to send to Switzerland, and that was already closer to the war because they knew that something is going to happen.
And the rumblings out of Germany with Nazi propaganda was targeting the Jewish people, so there must have been concern about that.
That's
and
true.
They would not let anybody take anything out, I believe.
Sure.
I mean, right.
And then there was another thing. Dowries for girls. That was very popular.
Okay.
I probably had one too because I was the oldest child in the family.
You probably had a big dowry.
And a girl besides. I was the first girl, and after me were 3 boys, and then there were 3 other sisters who were small children. So. And I helped my father a lot. I mean, with
the business,
with the carrying money, even over the border, because our city was close to the Czechoslovakian border.
A convenient place to be.
It was a business place.
Yeah, right.
And I had a passport, and I used to go many times and carry gold coins.
Now, excuse me, you were born in what year?
I was born in 1929, November 9.
29.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And when I'm talking, when I remembered when I went over the border, I could have been 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah.
My father trusted me because he knew I was a little bit more developed than other children.
Intellectually, yeah. You're smart.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Thank you. So,
okay. And it developed. So you were, when Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, you were about 4.
43.
Yeah, 40. Yeah. No, I mean
33
when they got power. Then they were popular 39, 40, and that was growing, and then the onslaughts and all that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And that had to be informing, as they say, the consciousness of the people in Europe, particularly people of a Jewish persuasion.
Sure.
Because this propaganda is growing.
Something went on because we had, in our house, we had rented out an apartment. That woman's husband went into the working force So she rented out her apartment to youngsters there, and they had a radio. Not everybody had a radio in the city, and they used to congregate there. Some of the
around the radio,
and heard what's going on, and so I heard too because it was close to my parents' bedroom.
Yes,
and the radio I could hear. So I knew it went something on, but I was too young to feel that this is a serious business. Yeah.
Now that money, some of that money was deposited in a Swiss bank?
Yes.
For protection? And they thought that it could be better there than in Romania.
Exactly.
Because the Nazis were coming.
Yeah, not only this. I mean, everybody deposited money in the Swiss bank.
For safety?
For safety.
And Switzerland was neutral?
Yeah.
And so forth. You thought that was safe to do, and the deposit was duly noted, and there's no question of that, because we want to come to that later in terms of your current situation with a bank. You're a plaintiff in a Swiss bank case and everything. But back to the running story of your youth. When did it first become that you actually did, sir, I mean, you were actually interned at the Auschwitz?
Yes.
Internment camp or concentration camp?
I was in the
How did that come about? You were about 14 or so, or maybe you could just...
I was 14 and a half, exactly. And because I was born in November, and this was in the end of April.
Yeah. Terrible business. Must have been terrible. I don't want you to have to recall something that's very difficult.
It's very difficult. First of all, we were traveling 3 days in a cattle wagon.
You were? When you say we, family members besides yourself?
With the family. I had my grandparents there. I had my aunt there in the same wagon. About 70 people put together there, and they had to sleep and eat. And
horrible.
I'm telling you.
Horrible.
Yeah, with children crying.
Yeah. So, and you were actually sent to Auschwitz.
Yes.
Arbaten Mike Frey. And you were taken there in 43, did you say?
In 44.
44?
In the beginning of April.
April of 44, you were sent to Auschwitz.
Yeah.
Had you been arrested or anything of that sort, or any intrusion by the Nazis before that, up to 40?
No, I mean, I was a child. I mean, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Okay, but it must have been very much in the air.
My father, they arrested.
Earlier?
Yes, because they arrested him because they arrested all the wealthy people. Where they thought they're going to get money.
And relatively, he was a wealthy person then.
Yes, he was considered a
right. And they knew. And did they try to seize his assets and his home? And what happened? Would they just come and seize a house and take it? And you know what I'm saying? It's such a break with the way life had been led.
I'm telling you, they were trying to get everything, but there were so many things to do. They couldn't go to each individual.
I see.
But they arrested the wealthy people, and they figured they're going to get out.
And try to seize their assets?
Yes, where they have. So they let my father, he probably, they told me he bribed somebody there. They let him come and say goodbye to us. So, and that's really an unbelievable thing. So my father came, he said goodbye to the children, and I was the oldest one. I was already, I mean, I understand that something. My younger brother, he was 13, he just he had his bar mitzvah 3 months before.
Awful.
Yeah. So, and he didn't care so much. So my father told us, he has monies in the walls.
In Switzerland?
No, in the house.
In the house.
He has monies in the walls, and he has monies in the Swiss bank. So that was, but beforehand, before my father was even arrested, he knew it was after the Passover holidays. He knew something that's going to go on there.
Yeah, it was in the air, yeah.
Yes. So I helped him hide some of the silverware from the house. And also I helped him to hide, we had bolts of material and sewing cotton that he was dealing to. I don't know how, but he was dealing for different things.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So I helped him hide this into the ceiling.
In the attic?
And from the attic, we opened the ceiling because there was a space between the ceiling, and we put all these things in there.
Yeah.
So then I went to Auschwitz, and I was in 2 concentration camps, and it was a very difficult story. When I arrived the first time in Auschwitz, I was very tired, and there was no place. They told us to take a shower. They cut our hairs, and then I was tired. I lay down on the concrete floor and I fell asleep. So a young child. So when I wake
Were you separated from your family?
From my family, I was all alone.
How awful!
Yeah, and my mother was begging to Mengele. He should let.
Mengele was there himself?
Yeah, he made the selection.
Of you? You were involved by him personally?
He
had an involvement in your selection, yeah.
So my mother asked him that I'm young, I should go with her. She needed me to help with the children.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And he pushed her away, and he pushed me on the right side.
The right side of...
To go to work.
What happened to those who were pushed on the wrong side?
They were sent to the crematorium.
No, really?
Yes.
Your family members?
Yes.
How horrible.
Day, yeah. So when I was in that shower room after I went to sleep, when I wake up, a woman was standing there near me, and she says, "You know what's doing here?" I says, "What's doing here?" She says, "Look, there is a chimney, and they're burning our families there."
Good God.
I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean,
there had been rumors to that effect, or no? Had you heard rumors to that effect?
Beforehand, no.
No, not before. No one had rumors to that.
No.
What did they say? It was a work camp?
We're going to work there.
Yeah, right. A work camp, concentration, internment. Yeah.
So, and then we sent it to the Swiss, to the barracks where we were staying there.
Barracks, yeah.
Yeah. It was from wood made places where we were sleeping there. About 12 girls all put together in one.
Like a slat bed or something, yeah.
So, and I had to endure this, and if I needed to survive, I had to try to find food and all.
They didn't give you enough food to eat?
No, what was there? You mean enough food? We got a slice of bread and some soup that was made from weeds or who knows from what.
Well, good God.
But
what 44 when? What month?
And the 44, I'm telling you, I was there in May, June. Then they sent us to a working place.
What kind of work did they have you do?
What we have to do. It was a city called Gelsenkirchen. It was near Gelsenberg, a big city in Germany. So there was an oil refinery that was bombarded beforehand, and we had to rebuild it. And we had to carry the...
You mean like lumber and pounding nails?
Lumber, no, we took the lumber or the bricks to the workers. Sometimes they came by ship. There was a small river there, or we had to carry it. We used to give it from one hand to the other. And all kinds of things to rebuild that. We worked there for 4 months. When it was finished, when it started to operate, the airplanes came again and they bombarded it.
Airplanes from British or from America?
American airplanes.
So you're getting up into 44 and the tide is turning from, say, 40. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So in that time, we lived already in that concentration camp, working place. We lived in tents, big tents.
Even in the winter months?
We were there in the summer.
Okay.
We lived in tents, and when the airplanes came to bombard, I ran out. People were running out, but because the German, the guards, they run away too.
Sure, bombs are going to be something to run away from, yes.
So I was running there. I didn't know where to run. And then there was a river and there was a bridge there. And a bomb fell near me. And I fell down on the ground.
Yeah.
And for the minutes I couldn't hear because of the noise from the bomb. And there was a big crater near where I fell. And then I started to run further when I got up. So a woman screamed to me, I shouldn't run there because that's the bridge and they're going to bombard the bridge.
Right.
So I went the other direction.
Did they bombard the bridge?
I don't know.
Oh, you ran the other way. You wouldn't know. Right. Didn't have time to check. Yeah.
But 150 women perished that time.
Oh boy!
And I saw somebody who lived near my grandmother, and she was there with two daughters, and one daughter got hit by a bomb, and all her intestines were out, and the mother tried to put it back. I mean, it's such a horror.
Horrible.
And I was a child. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it was really very hard to take this.
And then you had to stay until when were you liberated, as it were?
So
was it in 45?
After they divided the camp. Some of the girls went to another camp, and we went to a ammunition factory where we produced ammunition for the tanks.
Did they work you long hours and so forth? Or?
Well, 12 hours.
12 hours?
1 week in the daytime and 1 week at night.
Yeah, I did 12-hour shift.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I used to produce, even in the nighttime, the bombs that they needed.
You had to do that to survive.
Well, no other thing. And you know who were the supervisors? The Germans didn't have able-bodied men there. Only some women or cripples who came back.
Right. And things for them were getting worse every day.
Sure.
Because the Allies were moving in.
That's exactly.
So it was coming to the end. Yeah.
And I mean, who was the enemy? I mean, the whole war started because of the Jews, and now we were the enemy.
That's according to them. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, it was a tough thing. I was liberated, so when the front came nearer to the camp, they took us on a march.
The Germans?
The Germans, the Germans.
Took you on a march?
Yes.
To where?
Always back from the front.
Okay.
So we were marching for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Long time,
for days.
Away from the front?
Away from the front. And we were sleeping in barns or where they could find some empty space.
How many of you were there that were being herded?
I think at least 1,000.
1,000?
Yes.
Good
girls.
grief.
Yeah.
And how did they keep? They have enough people to keep you so you couldn't just run away or something?
No, they had the guards. They had the guards with dogs. I mean.
With the dogs.
Yeah. So the last day, when it was May 5th, the last day of the war, they put us into a barn too. And they used to close the door. So in the morning we see nobody is waking us up to go out.
To go on the march.
Yeah. So we started to bang on the door, and then the Russians came and they
The Russians had
liberated us. Yeah.
Oh boy, that was a happy day, huh?
Yeah.
Now where was that? Where was that? Do you remember where you were?
In Germany, close to the Czechoslovakian border.
Boy, that must have been one happy day for you, right?
Well, it was happy, but we were so malnourished, and I mean, we didn't know what to be happy about.
And you had been arrested for in prison for something like a year then?
A year, yeah.
We were a long time, and that time in your life must have been busy.
Yes.
You lost most of your family?
Everybody.
Everybody but yourself?
Everybody.
From your family? You didn't know that at the time when you were there, that they had been...
Sure not. I didn't know.
No way to know. There's no way of communicating or anything. What did you do on the day of the liberation? What happened, and how did you pick up your life?
So let me tell you.
Okay.
I had there a friend. We slept in the same place, and she was very good at stealing stuff.
You see, that might have helped to survive, yeah?
But she worked at night, and I worked during the daytime, so she needed somebody to watch her stuff that she was stealing. And she found me, and she saw that I'm honest, so I kept watch of her stuff, and she gave me a little bit of it too. So that
helped you survive.
Yeah. So after we were liberating, she came from Czechoslovakia. She spoke the language, and she knew where we were, not far from there. So she took 5 other girls who also from Czechoslovakia, and we walked over the border
into Czech.
Into Czechoslovakia. We went there, and it's a big city where we arrived, and we stayed there, and we went into a house. Nobody was there because some of the people
It
run
had
away.
been bombed? The city had been bombed? And so?
The city wasn't so much bombed, but there were a lot of Russians there.
Russians? The Russians had moved.
The Russians, the military. So I stayed there about 8 weeks.
Long time?
Yeah, with all the girls
That's
together.
in the summer months, right?
That was in the summer months, May, and to recuperate. But when I started to eat the first time after the war...
Where were you able to get the food to eat?
Were
there relief agencies or people?
No,
did the Russians help you? Or no?
The Russians had some food, and we found something in the house where we went in. But I became sick because I couldn't take food.
Yeah.
So I went in, they took me into the hospital there. It's called a hospital. There was hardly any doctors or something.
A tent or something.
So I went to the hospital, and there was in the same room a woman. A German woman. She tried to commit suicide, and it didn't work for her. So I thought, no, I'm not going to stay. I told my friends, get me back, and I'm going to try.
You wanted to try to go back to Romania?
No, to the place where we stayed there. So I stayed there, and I tried to eat little by little to get my system to accept
But
money.
there was no international agency or anything that was there to greet you and give you... You were on your own, sort of, but you were out of their clutches, of the guards and so on.
I was out of Germany.
And what had happened to all the guards who had been marching you along? Were they overrun by the Russian soldiers?
Something happened. Some of them ran away. Yeah, they know what they did and what it's waiting for them.
Right.
So, and like
terribly confusing situation, very frightening, traumatic.
It was after a war, and so many people died, and so many people came back, and they wanted to find their family.
Sure, of course, awful. Did you, after you got settled, and you got your strength back? You're only 15 or something.
Yes.
All right, you get your strength back a little, and then did you think to try to go back to Romania, or how did you function? I mean, how could you function? You had no money, you had no nothing?
No,
it must have been very hard.
I'm telling you, I took what I could from that house. I had 2 valises, and I went back to Romania. So
Romania. Was it easy to travel? Were there trains running?
There were trains running. The trains were full, and it was confusing. Sometimes they went, sometimes they stayed for a while.
It must have been awful. Just awful.
So, and I had no choice. I wanted to go back to my family.
You went to your family in your hometown, and what did you find?
Yes. So I went on the train, and I stopped in Budapest, and I had to change to another train. And a Russian guy took one of my valise. And
stole it?
He stole it, just like this. When I just want to tell you, when I arrived to my city, they used to sell stuff on the market. All kinds of
in the open place, in the open market.
Yes, in the open market, whatever they could find.
Like everywhere in the world,
so that was the business that time. So, matter of fact, I have still some picture that I have from that time. Because
you don't have it with you, right?
No.
You don't have any pictures of that.
It's it was, I wanted to have, when I was in my city, I wanted to have a pocketbook, but there was no pocketbook to buy. So I went to the market and I bought a piece of leather, and the leather was mounted with a picture in the middle. It was done for somebody who was very wealthy. Yeah.
And you did not have access to money or resources?
No.
Or because everything was chaos?
Yeah. So.
And you're 15?
I was 15 when I came home to my city.
And you found what?
The first thing I took out, the bolts of material that I hid it with my father.
Did you hid in the roof?
In the roof. And
the house was still there?
Yes, the house was
It hadn't been burned down or bombed?
No, it was still there.
Okay.
This I took out, and I had money to...
There was money stashed there, too?
No, the money not. It's only I could sell the material because nobody else had material.
Very valuable, yeah.
And a sewing thread, and so I sold it little by little I should have for food.
And you stayed in the house?
I stayed in the house.
Was there anyone else there? Anyone else from the family? The family had all been wiped out?
Yes.
And there was nobody there from your family?
There.
No neighbors? Any people you knew from when you lived there before?
Then some neighbors came along, and we went to live in another house together, about 5 girls. We lived there. And when the Russians realized our house was empty, they took it for the soldiers.
They took it for the soldiers, right?
Yes.
Did they give you any compensation?
No.
Was there anything? They just seized it, right?
No, like this.
No, nothing. So you lost the house.
I didn't lose. I lost the house because of Jewish organizations. So let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
So the Russians were there, and I had always a dream. My father told me he has money in the attic and the walls.
In the Swiss, yeah.
Yeah, and I need that money. I mean,
in the attic of the house.
Yeah, in the vaults. In the vaults. He told me in the vaults.
There's vaults in the house.
Yeah. So
upstairs?
And I figured that must be because he hid the silverware there. It has to be.
Where was the vault? Where in the house?
Not a vault, in the walls.
In the walls. Right.
Yeah. So I always said to my friends, I want to look for that money. They thought I'm a little bit crazy.
A little crazy, yeah, right.
So,
yeah, of course you're going to find money. Nobody had anything. Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't give up, and I used to go. But that's unbelievable. Even if I tell it now, the Russians were the soldiers downstairs. They used to stay up late at night and have parties and drink and be noisy.
Did they ever try to violate you sexually or anything else as a young girl? That never happened.
No,
okay,
because I didn't live in this house.
Yeah, right. Okay, no.
So, and I used to go up on the attic in the morning, early in the morning, and go up to the attic because the entrance was from the backyard, not from the house inside.
Okay.
And I used to scratch there and try to find money. And I wouldn't give up. So like this, it took me a few weeks. And all of a sudden, scratching there, I used to take a candle along with me. And scratching, all of a sudden, I see a plaster of Paris. So I figured this doesn't belong in that
place.
And the wooden beams.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I scratched there, and I find a few gold coins. So then I know I was looking in the right places.
In the right direction,
This is the right direction. So I came back the next day, and I found 3 more places with gold coins, with dollars. But, I mean, if I would have it now, I would be very rich.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was even notes with numbers. Yeah. But what happened, I mean, I was all alone, and I came home only because I was sure my father was only 39 years old.
Oh, boy, yeah.
That I'm going to find him. My mother was, my father was 36. My mother was 39. She was older. And I had cousins. Nobody.
Sure, I understand.
I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, right.
When I just was sure he's going to come home.
Horrible.
Yeah. So I wasn't so happy with the money that I found. Yeah. But afterwards, I left the city because my friend became jealous, and they told for the
jealous
Russian.
Because what?
Because I have money.
Because you had money.
Yeah.
Okay, that gives you some security. You can buy things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm somebody who they have to look up to.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
So the Russian soldiers, when they find out, they said they heard me scraping there, but they thought it was the rats or the mice.
I see. You're in a little mouse up there, but it was you, right?
Yeah.
So what happened? When did you come to, let's just say, America?
Yeah.
So, because one of the trouble is, Gizella, your story would make one heck of a movie. Do you realize what a movie that would be? It would be Mr. Spielberg could turn that into a thriller par excellence, and your life is too interesting. We could talk for 25 hours easy.
I know.
But we want to try and bring it around kind of to the
So I'm going to tell you.
And we do. There's a little piece of film that we were going to show. Do you think it might be good to show that now or not? Maybe
how
we should
you
just
think?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, but it was a film. We had a little piece of film that could show something. Maybe we talk a little bit more and then maybe show film.
Yeah, all right.
It's because you finally got that money was in the Swiss bank, all of this terrible trauma you went through, this thing, you're in Romania, you're there, and somehow you got to America and to the rest of your life, as it were. Yeah. Go fast with that, and then let us get to the fact about the Swiss bank case.
I'm going to do it.
And we got to sort of start talking fast because there's so much to try and cover. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure, I will.
Okay.
So when I found the money, I left for Satmar, my father's city. I didn't want to stay
That's a city, Satmar?
A big city, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was a Satmar Jewish. You know?
No, it's a city.
I didn't know that. That's where the Satmar get their name?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that already. I'm learning. Okay, so you went to Satmar.
Yeah.
And that's in Romania or Czech?
Romania.
In Romania. I didn't know that. Okay.
It's about 4 hours travel with a bus. We had to go over a big mountain to go.
Your father, they were Hasidic?
Yes.
Your father was?
Yes.
He wore the hat and all that?
Yes. He will. Let me just
what have you got? You got something you can show us?
Yeah.
Oh, here, Black Star News. Oh, okay. Maybe you can bring it in on this, okay?
Yeah,
I'll hold it up, and you can bring it in. This is the Black Star News. They got many articles about your current situation in the Black Star News. I guess Bill Morowski and his partner have been doing some Holocaust survivors. That's people. That's a picture of that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But you went to Satmar.
I went to Satmar, and I went into the restaurant, a kosher restaurant. I told them.
You had some of the money.
Yes.
Okay, that helps. Almost under any situation
not
in the world.
Not for eating. I went in and I told them I'm looking for a place to stay, and I'm going to pay for it. So the family came along, and I paid them $1 a week, and from that $1, the whole family left.
Okay.
That was so much.
Yeah, that's the reality, the terrible post-war reality. Yeah.
So, anyway, then they realized, I cannot survive by myself. I have to get married. I was 16 years old.
Yeah. Well, okay. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there were many boys who came to see me. They made matchmakers.
Yes, right.
Then my husband, he had a friend, and he figured out he's going to introduce me to his friend, to my husband. And I stayed in their house that time, and so he made a very interesting matchmaking, but nobody knew about it. And he got me engaged. Oh. The only relative that I had was in the city of Satmar was my father's cousin. So I called him over and I told him I'm engaged. So according to the Jewish tradition, he asked me who the groom's father was.
Father?
Yeah. And which family? I says, I don't know.
Huh?
He says, are you crazy?
Yeah.
I wouldn't let you get engaged to
Somebody
anybody.
we don't even
You
know.
don't,
Yeah, that's his job. To
Yeah.
check it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he told me, you're going to break this up. I said, no, I'm not going to break up, because I saw once they broke up the engagement. I didn't like it. So he went into the city and he inquired about my husband. He came back that he is approving of the match.
He's what? He's approving of the match. He passed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So but I did the first thing. I didn't want to carry and have the job of carrying the money with the dollars. I gave everything to my husband.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't tell him that time. I didn't think it's so important. All the notes with the numbers. And there I had the bank accounts.
Right. And is some of that the Swiss bank accounts?
Yes,
yeah, okay,
probably.
Yeah.
So that I lost because my husband didn't keep it. But from the money, to tell you how much money I had, we fixed in our apartment. I spent $1,150.
That was real money.
That was a lot
huge
of money.
Fortune, yeah.
I had custom-made furniture.
In Satmar?
In Satmar.
You're still in Satmar. You don't speak English then? Or you speak Romanian only?
No, I speak Hungarian.
Hungarian?
Yeah. Even I went 3 classes in Hungary and 3 classes in Romanian, but I never practiced it. Most of the friends are speaking Hungarian.
Oh, yeah. Hungarian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. In Romania. You were raised in Romania.
Yes. We
don't they have a Romanian language?
No, there is a Romanian language, but they were always fighting about our area.
Okay. Okay. Right. And Czech, too. Yeah.
So,
well, we got to get moving, Gizella.
So
we have to bring you up to the present.
So I got married, and I became pregnant with my oldest son. He should rest in peace, who passed away.
Sorry.
I said, I'm not going to stay in Satmar because I heard anti-Semitic remarks.
Really?
Yeah.
Good
so
God.
We left our apartment, everything, and we ran away to Hungary.
To Hungary?
Yeah. My oldest son was born in Budapest, and then we went from there to Austria. We stayed there in a displaced camp. And
displaced. When did you get to America?
In 1950.
In 1950, not so long.
Yeah.
You got there. It was difficult. You came to America, to New York, with your husband?
With my
and
husband
your children.
And 2 children.
And you had the accounts in Swiss bank?
You
didn't know about it.
I didn't know, but I was, so from 1950, starting in the 60s, I traveled 3 times to Switzerland.
Yes.
And I was always inquiring about the money and the deposit money. But it didn't come to me that the Swiss was going to deny it or something. I said, listen, my father told me he has money in the vaults.
But you didn't have the notes. And it was a numbered account? It was
mostly numbers account, because this man who took out money, he told me there was numbers. But it wasn't only numbers. The numbers had a person. Was the name.
Right. Yeah.
So they could find it very easily. Yeah.
But they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it because the problem is with our Jewish organizations.
The problem is with your Jewish organizations?
The Jewish
because this problem, I'm very sorry for the trauma you had to go through. I'm glad you found a nice man. Yeah. And the matchmaker worked, and you liked that much in your life, and you've been able to have such a good spirit. You're such a beautiful spirit and all of that. But you have this source, as they say, in the modern period over this idea of the money, as I understand it, and it's been involved in the courts, and it was called the Swiss bank case.
Yes.
And we want to get to that because that's something that's in the news now.
So
bringing it right up to the present.
Yeah.
Although your life story is incredible. But go ahead, please.
Thank you. The thing is this: I had arranged with Fagin, not through him.
Fagin is an attorney.
An attorney to his.
This is contemporary. This is up just to the modern period now.
Yes,
we're talking now.
Yeah,
there's a lot in there between where we left her in Satmar and here, but we can't go into all that, right? And I don't think we're going to be able to film the tape.
No,
go ahead.
we can't do it in 1 hour. It's too long.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make it short as possible.
Okay.
So Fagin had a paralegal, and I had some problems. They started to make me problems, my partners. I always, we had a business, and I always told my husband he should take a partner, because and even in a house I took in a partner, because sometimes I was many times sick. And if I couldn't do it, and my husband by himself was so lost, so I told him take a partner in. So to make the whole story short, my partners robbed me. One robbed me of a house, but not legally. They do what they want in this country. They pay off the judges, and they arrange false documentation.
Okay, we're coming into a new phase of your life.
Yes.
You were doing some business, right? I mean, you're here.
Yes,
You're in New York.
yes.
You're after
And
50. You were here, and you did business. You did quite well. You had a factory.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I started from scratch. I used to go work. When I came to the United States, I worked at home. I sold baby dresses.
Okay.
Not baby dresses, doll dresses.
Doll dresses.
Dresses.
Yeah.
From that money, I bought for my children carriage, high chair, everything that I needed extra. And I used to go and give charity also.
Were you able to bring any of the money that you had in Satmar to New York?
No, because we spent it, most of them.
Because you spent it, not because they weren't allowed.
No,
okay.
my husband, he was trying. We didn't know where we were going to end up. I thought I have no relatives in
How did you happen to come to America?
I'm telling you, we were at this place camp, and that time Truman had quotas for displaced person to come.
I see. Okay, right.
We came with American Navy ships.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got to get to. We only got about 10 minutes, so we got to get to Mr. Fagin
this I
and your
tell
current
you.
thing about corrupt judges.
Yeah, I had
in the American system. And you lived through some pretty corrupt times. But okay, go ahead.
I'm telling you, I could make you not one book. The documents.
Yes.
That's what I'm making.
I think they're going to make a movie out of your life. I think it's destined.
They try to make now from Switzerland. They commissioned a producer in Hollywood to make. Yeah.
About your life.
About the Swiss money, how it
about just the Swiss bank thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is all background to that.
Yeah.
This
so
is the thing. A trailer will be part.
They were for me, and they took footage for 3 hours, and I gave them some of the tapes. They took 13 tapes, and they copied them.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back.
Yeah. I expect it's destined.
It should be exposed how the money was stolen from the Holocaust survivors.
You're a Holocaust survivor from Auschwitz, and there was some money in a Swiss bank, and somehow that money, which should have been legally yours, I mean, it should have been yours, and available to you, was stolen from you by people, Jewish agencies or Jewish people or foundations here in the United States of America.
Yes.
A heck of a story. Go ahead.
You're telling me. So like this, illegally, with false documents, some rabbis, they took away a house from my house.
This house you had in New York? In
New York. When I tell people this, they say, where they took it away? In Germany? I says, no, in the United States. They can't believe it. They think I'm a criminal. That's why they did it. But my only sin was that I started to scream at these people. I says, because they used to push me aside. This lawyer is is doing it pro se. The other one is doing it pro bono.
Yeah. For free,
Yes, they came for free, and they took big monies out.
If I may, how did you build up big monies? You came here, you didn't have money. You built it up to the success of the business.
I didn't have my business. I had here
making doll clothes.
This business I had for 25 years there. I was doing it to help my children. They should have a place to work.
It would be good to have a place to work and food to eat and a place to sleep.
It was a braiding factory. I loved and I did many interesting things on the braiding factory, and they just destroyed it.
They did.
They destroyed it.
Okay.
My partner and. Illegally, they are buying off the judges, and they can do what they want in the system.
Okay, and you'd build up, and then what about the bank? We got it down in the credits. There's a Swiss bank case.
Then while I was there by Fagin and the office waiting for him.
That's an attorney, well-known attorney with the Swiss bank and the Holocaust survivors.
But how he came to file this lawsuit? I was there. In reading the Times, they declassified the documents from after 50 years.
Okay.
And then it came down that there were some monies in the Swiss bank. So I was reading that article.
And you were the lead one that they went with on that Swiss bank thing.
So
you were the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
So Fagin comes over to me and she says, "What you reading here?" "Well, I'm reading about the Swiss bank." I says, "My father had deposits in the Swiss bank." He's looking at me, "Your father had deposits and what you know about it?" I says, "All right, I'll bring you what I know about it and what the documentation." Because the Swiss were advertising beforehand, a half a year before, that whoever had deposits should write in a questionnaire there. And I wrote it in.
And remember, this is money that had been deposited before. It had been deposited. It wasn't some sort of reparation for the bad treatment or anything. It was money that had been deposited in a Swiss bank.
Yes.
And it was under your name.
Yes.
And it should be yours.
Sure. I mean,
right.
Because not only was it my father's name there, but it was whose trust he leaves this money. So,
your name.
Probably my name. I was the oldest in the family.
You've not had access to the record or that? I'm sorry.
The whole thing is because the corrupt system here in the United States. Then Fagin says, "I'm going to bring you the documents." So I brought him the documents. In 3 days, he had the lawsuit filed in the Eastern District Court.
Okay.
Everybody looked up at him.
He became famous for that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
He became...
Because he's going to be doing something for the Holocaust survivors. Everybody wants to say, yes, by all means, do, and everything. Okay.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, it became a political play. I used to work there. I worked by Fagin in office in the first year, 8 months without pay. I came home. I used to call over. I spent my money traveling and everything because I gave people hope. They're going to get...
Other people.
Other people.
Who had gone through what you had gone.
Who's going to... I mean, they...
Other people who had accounts? People that had money deposited before.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a question filed with Fagin. My name is on it. And my children used to handle it out in the synagogues and then collected the written ones. I used to take it to Fagin's office and docket it there. So like this, I did it for 8 months. And the whole time I was too busy. I didn't ask him. I gave him for an escrow account to get some more interest from that I had for my cousin's house, that Holocaust survivor.
That was the name P something.
Jack Estrich.
Estrich, that's right, yeah. And you set up an escrow account?
It was set up by a previous lawyer because I sold a house that he had.
And did he raid that escrow account?
Because the escrow account got me only 1.5% in a Loyola fund.
You could do better with a T-bill.
And I paid on a mortgage on my house. I paid 11.5%.
Yeah, right.
You see how I lost the money, and not only this. I took out this money from my husband's life insurance because we had no money, and the life insurance charges about 8% that time. So
it's hard to figure the interest,
So I told Mr. Fagin, I'm losing money. Maybe he could help me. He says, yes, I'm going to give you at least 5%. So I took the money to him a half a year before, and he gave me a canceled check where he's going to put that money in. So I took the money out in February of 96. The Swiss case came along in October 3 of 96. And I didn't know when I was working by him. I asked him a few times, where is the money? Because previously I used to get statements from the bank.
Sure, yeah.
By him I didn't get, but I was too busy.
Yeah.
But in the end of 97, I figured something is wrong here. And I started to question him, and he didn't give me the right answers.
That's very bad.
And then another lawyer came to work there, and he made his own organization claiming money for Satmar. And the lawyer's name was Mel Orbach, and he made the organization called the World Council of Orthodox Communities. And I was very mad at that thing, because I knew the rabbi who was the nephew of the original Satmar rabbi, Moses Teitelbaum.
That's Teitelbaum, yeah.
Yeah, I know him from my birth city because he was born there too. And I knew him after the war, and I didn't like him. He wasn't the type of rabbi that he's supposed to be.
Okay.
So. And I didn't trust him. All of a sudden, and he hurt me a lot. I had some problems he made me with my daughter of mine, going back 28 years ago.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we were 4 times thrown out from Satmar, me and my late son. But the
4 times thrown out by Satmar?
By Satmar, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't abide by this rabbi, and I know him, he was a faker.
Teitelbaum was a giant.
The one, his uncle. His uncle was, and I knew him very well. He used to be close with my grandfather and my father, too.
Many in Satmar are Natura Carta, too, I think.
I know many.
Rabbi Dome, now Rabbi Weiss now.
You know
younger.
why? What's the main? Because they are going according to
Torah.
The Satmar rabbis' views, the previous rabbi, not this one.
Well, okay, I understand. There can be a bad apple, they say, in a barrel.
So, and I have another thing that my husband doesn't like.
We got about 2 minutes left.
Yeah, all right.
So wrap it up.
I'm going to wrap it up.
And this is just the beginning. This is nothing but a footnote to the option that's going to be the movie of your life. And it's going to be, So I just want to have people who are listening to this, I could tell you a lot of things. Talk to this camera.
They should try to help the survivors. They should get some justice, what you call justice, but doesn't exist. There are so many organizations who became now in the business of helping this Holocaust, and I'm going to tell you how they ripped me off.
Talk right into this
camera.
Yeah,
I'm talking there.
Yeah, talk to that camera.
Yeah.
Come on, one shot on her.
So, and that's why I came here, and I had many interviews already here previously.
Here at MNN?
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be others, yeah.
I had others one too, and I had other friends, and this came just by surprise. I didn't know that where I'm coming.
We just met.
Yeah.
But this is the beginning of a wonderful friendship. Gizella.
Yes.
You're going to be coming to dinner with me.
And I would like, but you're going to have to take.
Well, we're going to have to get something good. We'll get something good. Don't worry. We'll get you something good to eat. Don't worry.
All right. But I want to expose what they did to me and how they're lying. All those people who claim they are doing it for the Holocaust survivors. And from the beginning, they appointed that who looked for the Swiss bank account, Paul Walker. We begged him, leave us alone. We don't need you. But he was the money man. He was very close with the Swiss.
Paul Volcker?
Yes.
The Federal Reserve? I mean,
yes.
He was very good with the Swiss?
Yes, he was the chairman of the Nestle chocolate.
Yes, he's huge. Yeah, huge figure in America.
And he took $500 million out from the Holocaust money.
And used it for themselves rather than for the survivors?
He used it for his accountants and for everybody.
Really?
They stayed in the nicest hotel, and we were left like fools.
And
that's why.
And this can be backed up with documents and that sort of thing?
Exactly. Everything is docketed.
I think Dean Lauren's on your case too. One of our
She is,
producers
yeah,
here, Dean's
yeah.
really good.
Yes.
And they're going to be doing that. And
Yeah.
you've got documents and
everything. I'm going by documents. I'm not telling stories. That I love to do research in the courts, and I found many documents. And you would believe it, when I file documents in the court, they either they send me back, or they alter it, or they whatever they do, and they get paid nice money.
We have not yet begun to fight, as it were, here in your time.
I'm asking people, if you don't want to be, because they tell me how the country looks now, it's going to be another Holocaust here, but I'm trying to help my children shouldn't go through this.